I've got a few things to cover here, and I am not going to connect the dots. I'm just going to show you the dots. And the dots are things that are out there. These are not matters of speculation. These are things that are out there, and make of them what you will. All right. Now, this is something that was found, it was found recently, quote unquote found, but it's been out there for a while. In the year 2000, Rob Reiner was roasted. This was broadcast on Comedy Central. And roasts are, of course, supposed to be mean and nasty and, over the top and, with and vulgar and insulting and all of that. So maybe this is all just a practical joke. I don't know. Maybe there's no significance to any of this at all. But nevertheless, it's out there. And this is a portion of the roast that's gotten the most attention, where Rob Reiner is being roasted by Al Franken, formerly of SNL. I don't think yet a senator, but would soon become a U.S. senator, and then would resign in disgrace over Me Too related stuff that might or might not be. That's not really related to this issue anyway. Let's see what he says as part of his roast of Rob Reiner here.
I'll tell you that Rob has devoted himself to seeing the kids from birth to age 3 get the kind of nurturing, intellectual stimulation, love, really, that will make them grow up to be a fully functional, happy person, unlike, say, Brett.
That's a reference to Brett. What's her name? Doesn't matter. Anyway, if you want to watch the whole, you can find this whole roast without interruption. I'm going to be interrupting. If you don't like it, don't watch the video. But he goes on. So he starts by saying he's raised his kids between the years of 0 and 3 so they can be happy, well-functioning adults. And he's about to take this, which you'd say, well, what's wrong with that? That's nothing wrong with that. We'll see where he takes it now.
And it's a great thing. Most people don't know where this comes from, and Rob doesn't like to talk about it because he's kind of a modest guy, but it comes out of his own personal experience. See, as a baby, Rob was routinely beaten by his father, Carl. Rob believes that this early physical abuse had a profound effect on him as an adult and led to the horrible failure of Ghosts of Mississippi.
There's a movie of his that flopped.
For North on that one. Just curious.
North was another movie of his that flopped.
What possibly could explain North?
I helped him out.
On a typical night, Carl would slip into Rob's bed,
Jesus.
roll him over, swab him down, and say something like, "I'm thinking about hiring Maury Amsterdam to play Buddy Sorrell. What do you think?" Well, the success of the Dick Van Dyke Show changed things dramatically. Carl started inviting many of his famous friends to son. And that list includes some of the greats in comedy. Paul Lynde. Dom DeLuise. Rip Taylor. Danny Kaye. Charles Nelson Riley and Rock Hudson, whom I frankly don't think was that funny.
All right, so yeah, pretty bizarre joke. The joke is that Rob Reiner's father, Carl Reiner, who was also very successful in showbiz and was involved, I guess, was the main showrunner, or they didn't call them that. They called them something else behind the Dick Van Dyke Show, which featured Mary Tyler Moore, and it was a big time show, very successful show. And the joke is that Carl would take Rob when he was a toddler and molest him, and then have a bunch of his friends come and molest him also. And all of the people that he mentions are at least rumored homosexuals. That's another angle to this joke. So what the hell, right? I don't know. Most people would watch this and say, "What the hell?" Why go there? But maybe it's just harmless fun. Maybe it is. Now, I had heard there were pictures of of Rob Reiner and Carl Reiner kissing on the lips, and I wanted to make sure that those were actual, legitimate photographs. I'd seen them, but I didn't know. Today you don't know what's AI and what isn't. So I asked Grok. Grok told me that yes, the father-son duo were pictured kissing. You can see these are stock photos. You can look them up yourself. This was when they both were honored together on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in the year 2017. So that's Carl and Rob Reiner kissing on the lips. So pardon my red fingernail, by the way. I had a Benadryl accident. And they said these are professional press photos widely distributed at the time via Getty Images and AFP. Okay, so there you have it. Again, I'm just presenting these points. I'm just presenting these things, and I'm not going to draw any conclusions. But so I asked Grok, and I know Grok is AI, but what Grok does is it compiles what's out there, the information that's out there, and but I wanted to be fair. Maybe this is just a custom that is normal in the culture that Rob Reiner and Carl Reiner are a part of. Even if it's something that most of us find really, really strange and are really uncomfortable with. But I wanted to be fair because maybe that is possible. So I asked, is fathers and sons kissing on the lips a custom in the culture that the Reiner family is a part of? And Grok told me no. Fathers and adult sons kissing on the lips, or father. I didn't ask about adult sons, but I would say it's just as weird if it's kids, if it's little kids kissing their own fathers on the lips. I would say that's also pretty weird, pretty damn weird. But them kissing on the lips is not an established custom or norm in Jewish culture, including among Jewish American families like the Reiners, who are secular Jewish. Now, I didn't say Jewish. Grok was the one who took it in that direction. I just wanted to know if that maybe there's something in the culture that they're a part of, whether it's them being Jewish or something else, some other aspect of whatever culture you could say there's a part of. He goes on to say, kissing is a form of familial affection or greeting, has biblical roots. And yes, people kiss on the cheek, or on the hand, or on the forehead. But no, kissing on the lips, that's not typical. All right. That's not usual. And yet here we have this father and son who kissed each other on the lips when they were honored on Hollywood's Walk of Fame. This is a fact. It's factual. There are pictures of it. It wasn't extensively commented on for some reason back in 2017 when this happened, but nevertheless, it's factual. All right, we move on to another apparent fact. Even though there's no photographic evidence of this, it is something that has been reported in several mainstream journals. Okay, and that is that Eric Aude, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but there you go, stunt performer and actor who worked on the 2015 film Being Charlie. This is the movie that was directed by Rob Reiner, co-written by Nick Reiner, and it was autobiographical, basically an autobiographical depiction of their struggles as father and son when Nick was a young man and was a drug addict and was in and out of one rehab center after another. So stunt performer said that Eric Aude said that he witnessed Rob and Nick Reiner arguing intensely on set and then making up with a kiss on the lips. Oops. All right. Aude described it as unusual, saying they were kissing each other on the lips, which was weird, and noted the public nature of their fights and reconciliations felt uncomfortable, like showing their dirty laundry. The observation was reported in multiple outlets, including the Daily Mail, Page 6, Men's Journal, Perez Hilton, and others, following the tragic deaths of Rob and Michelle Singer Reiner, for which Nick was later charged. So to summarize so far, what have we got? We've got this joke made about Carl Reiner sexually abusing Rob Reiner when he was a toddler, and then having his showbiz friends come in and also sexually abuse Rob Reiner as a toddler. Then we have a picture of Rob Reiner and Carl Reiner kissing on the lips at a ceremony on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And now we have an eyewitness, reporting that while Rob Reiner and Nick Reiner were on the set of Being Charlie, that they would fight, the two of them would fight, and then would make up with a kiss on the lips, which this guy, Eric Aude, thought was quote-unquote weird. And which I think we would all be in agreement of that. And again, there seems to be this is not just a cultural difference. If we were talking about people living in some exotic culture, where this kind of thing is more normal and it's not seen as weird or incestuous, or implying anything incestuous, then that would be different. We'd have to give some latitude for that, but that's not the case, apparently, with these particular instances of intimacy. Now here we have the Megyn Kelly show. Megyn Kelly, formerly of Fox News. Some of us might recall that Megyn Kelly was the one who, in the aftermath of the event often called Pizzagate, who had James Alefantis on her show, and who basically gave him this softball interview, said, "Oh, I understand it's been so hard for you because all these people are seeing your online, the gross pictures you're putting on your Instagram page and of which suggest some pedophilic inclinations, and although she doesn't even say that, she doesn't call attention to any of that. She just says, you've been suffering because people are all these people pushing misinformation about you online," and gives him, treats him with great sympathy, and gives gives James Alefantis, the owner of the notorious Comet Pizza Ping Pong, a chance to basically say, yeah, it's been rough and blah, 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 and in an effort to make us sympathize with him and feel that he's been unfairly targeted by a bunch of yahoos online, pushing misinformation about him being showing pedophilic images, and making strange pedophilic sort of references or jokes. So this is the same Megyn Kelly here. Now, in this interview, as we'll see, Megyn Kelly is going to make a prediction about something that Nick Reiner might say in his defense. Let's see what she says here.
For Nick Reiner, it's just not. But here's what I think, and this is like out of left field prediction, and it's just because the Menendez case is on my mind, because that's also California, and this is what triggered it. In no way am I impugning Rob Reiner, nor do I believe there's anything untoward. I think he seems, by all accounts, a loving father and an appropriate father. But on this same Daily Mail report we were quoting from, one actor who was on the set of Being Charlie, he's a cast member, Eric Aud, 45, told the Daily Mail he found the dynamic between Rob and his son Nick troubling. They were fighting. They were arguing with each other while they were on the set. They did point out that this guy's scenes were ultimately cut from the film. Okay, maybe he's got an axe to grind. Quote, they were kissing each other on the lips, which was weird. They were bickering. They were going off on each other on set. It wasn't comfortable. There was definitely hostility there. So my question is there a likelihood Nick Reiner pulls a card from the Menendez defense? We're in California. It's going to be a California jury, and says he was molesting me my whole life. That's why I was so messed up from the time I was 10. That's why I got hooked on drugs. There's no way of disproving that, and plays the sympathy card with a California jury about why, from a very young age, he was all messed up, Matt.
Well, he might, but remember, until again, George Gascon became the DA, and our friend Mark Aragos got a hold of that case, they were convicted, and a California jury rejected all that, But
the California juries are not what they used to be.
No, that's true, but there's a blistering opinion affirming the conviction of both those guys, authored of all places by the Ninth Circuit Court of...
Okay, so you can watch this video yourself if you want. It's on, everything I'm showing you is online. You can look it up for yourself. What I found astounding was that Megyn Kelly actually brought this up. She actually brought this up. Okay, the attitude here is, we all know that he's guilty of this because he's an evil, drug-addicted psychopath, and but what if because this is wacky California, and the Menendez brothers claim that their parents were molesting them, what if he pulls out that excuse that he was abused, and that's what caused his drug abuse, and that's what ultimately led him down this violent path. What if he tries that excuse? Which, I have to say, again, astounds me that they're bringing this up already. 2 nights ago, I knew about everything. I mean, I knew about. Well, I didn't know about all the allegations of kissing on the lips. I knew about the roast, the Al Franken's words at the roast of Rob Reiner, alleging that or joking that Carl Reiner molested him and had his friends molest him and passed him around to his friends when he was just a little child. So, but I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna keep that close to the vest. I'm not gonna play that. I'm not gonna go out there and I'm not gonna go make allegations, and I'm still not making any allegations. I'm still not comfortable doing that. But I do have to say that all of these things everything I've shown you is real. Nothing is libelous. You cannot sue me over anything that I've shown you claiming libel, because it's all real. It all happened. The roast where Franken said those words happened. The kiss between Carl and Rob Reiner, kiss on the lips, happened. The report that Rob and Nick would argue and then would make up by kissing on the lips, that's out there in the mainstream media. And now you have this this interview between Megyn Kelly and a couple of I don't know who these guys are. I guess they're legal commentators, where she says, maybe, you know what, is he gonna claim that he was abused? Like, I mean, and I again, my jaw was hitting the floor that they actually went there. I was thinking this would all unfold much more slowly, if it unfolded at all. I was going to just like I said, I didn't want to be irresponsible. I didn't want to claim anything. I didn't want to make any wild claims, even though I think Hollywood is a cesspool. I've said that before. I think abuse of children is common in Hollywood. I think, I don't think I'm saying anything at all outrageous in saying that. But God, good golly, all of these things, including this show, where they're inclined to think that they're inclined to just want to throw the book at Nick Reiner and just say he was a spoiled rich kid who didn't get what he wanted, and that's why he cut his parents' throats in their beds. That this is a show that's obviously very pro prosecution, and they're already trying. Megyn Kelly says, I just got this idea from out of left field. But no, it wasn't out of left field. It was because you read the account of an eyewitness saying he saw what he saw between Rob and Nick on the set of Being Charlie. But in any case, this is a mainstream media. Megyn Kelly is, center right, but she's still fairly mainstream. So it's like they're already trying to take the sting out of that, or trying to introduce that ahead of time in order to, there's some expression that I can't think of right now, but to not so that people won't be shocked by it. Like, oh, they might try this outrageous thing, Well, is it really that outrageous of a prospect? That's what I would ask. And again, I'm not alleging anything. My whole point for this whole video was just to show you the dots, and you can connect them however you wish. And that's where I'm going to end this. Thank you.